That's the channel here. Here's the third installment on the pain pathway. So here are the nociceptors. Nausea, pain. So we call them nauseation, nociceptors. So when they stimulate it, they conduct electrical impulse towards the central nervous system, the spinal cord. So the mediators, the pain mediators, with damaged cells, let's say I have a cut on your finger, inflammatory cells, mast cells, and platelets. So these mediators, pain mediators, they stimulate these nociceptors, and they release a particular chemicals that stimulate these receptors. So it could be histamine, bradykinin, by the way, serotonin as well, potassium by itself, and prostaglandin. Prostaglandin is a huge mediator of pro-inflammatory reaction. So it's basically due to damaged system, right? So there's a release of these chemicals that stimulates these receptors, nociceptors, and that conduct this electrical impulse into a central nervous system, and they enter from the sensory side, which is dorsal, that carries the sensory information, and it passes through this ganglion where there's collection of cell bodies. This is the peripheral nervous system. So, and it enters inside of the central nervous system in the horns right here from the dorsal horn, and brings this pain sensation upper into the brain. So in here within this neuron we release stimulatory neurotransmitters. Remember this one, glutamate. So glutamate and substance P. Substance P are both of them, glutamate and substance P, are stimulatory neurotransmitters. What did they do? They depolarize membrane by bringing sodium or calcium by opening these channels through depolarization, and then they bring this information into the brain. So from tissue into the spinal cord, this is a first order neuron, or neurons, there are many. From spinal cord into a thalamus into the brain, spinothalamic tract, that is a second order neuron called spinothalamic tract. You bring this into thalamus, and you conduct this electrical impulse into cerebral cortex right there. So now the entire brain is preoccupied with pain. So then your brain wants to inhibit the pain, and then through the cerebral cortex, right, it sends down this another impulse, inhibitory impulse, that travels through the brainstem. Here's the brainstem, travels through the brainstem and comes into the same region where we release these stimulatory neurotransmitters. And now from this interneuron we're gonna release opioids like neurotransmitter that will block the pain. So you will block this second order neuron or even the first order neuron from bringing this pain information, and you will inhibit this. Not completely, but. And when we say blocking, so this neurotransmitter would be blocked by the inhibitory opioids. Opioids like morphine, for example, like basically endorphins, enkephalins. So they will inhibit this pain. By inhibition, we need to hyperpolarize membrane. Let's say -90. Hyperpolarization. Hyperpolarization meaning you will remove potassium to hyperpolarize membrane to go to -80 or even lower. Or you can bring negative chloride. By bringing negative chloride, you will definitely hyperpolarize the membrane. So you will enter the refractory period. So basically, endorphins, opioid-likes, so they will block this neurotransmitters to transduct this electrical impulse to the second order neuron. Again, this is spinal thalamic tract, and this is somatosensory cortex. Somato organ, sensory cortex, right? That's the cortex. That's where there's a collection of cell bodies. That's where there's a lot of gray matter. And from the thalamus to the somatosensory cortex to all these different lobes, this is a third order neuron. First order neuron from the stimulus to the cell body or in the central nervous system. Then there's a second order neuron from the central nervous system to the thalamus. This is a thalamus. And this is the cortex. That's from the thalamus to the cortex, third order of neuron. So basically, the most important thing here with the pain modulation, it is inhibit the passage of this impulse up into the cortex. This is the brainstem, but precisely medulla. And by the way, glutamate, it is a fast, sharp pain. And substance P, it is slow, prolonged. So sometimes I go pretty fast and I just scribble and I can make some spelling mistakes and I don't really pay attention on how to write perfectly, just because I'm using meta glasses and they only give me 3-minute increments, and the entire glasses die within like 10 minutes. So I have to go as fast as I can. So this was the third installment on pain modulation.